Welcome to the Commissioner's Report, where today we'll be talking with two county commissioners about Polk County Day. This annual event is usually staged in Tallahassee during the 60-day legislative session. First up with us today is Commissioner George Lindsey. Welcome to the program, Commissioner Lindsey.
Well, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. The Board of County Commissioners and leaders from many of our municipalities recently participated in Polk County Day in Tallahassee. Commissioner Lindsey, you believe that one of the most important aspects of this special event is that it's a forum to improve intergovernmental relations. How so?
It is very much important that Polk County speak as a unified voice, and it's an opportunity for the leadership of the county, the commission, and our senior staff to meet with members of our city partners, their leadership and their commissioners, to come to Tallahassee, share the same issues, and express to our delegation what's important back home.
While Polk County Day is an excellent place to network with government leaders, it also puts us in the forefront of the decision makers in Tallahassee. Do you agree?
Absolutely. You know, our former delegate from Polk County, Fred Jones, used to say that the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is in jeopardy when the legislature is in session. And while there's a little tongue-in-cheek humor to that, it may be true. If we do nothing, the delegation then assumes we have no interest or have no great concerns. It is somewhat of a defensive move to put the issues before them. More often than not, it's about stopping issues that have been initiated in some committee or some other part of the state that may have an adverse effect on Polk County. But to let them know that we have interest, we have priorities that we need our state partners to participate in, and at the same time express our appreciation for their service. As elected official at all levels, it is a huge sacrifice to friends and family and business. And we want to go out of our way to express our appreciation, at the same time share our agenda with the delegation.
You're exactly right. The Board of County Commissioners hosted a luncheon for our city managers and their key staff and council members at the Tallahassee Visitors Bureau, and then later we had a reception at the Capitol building. The events are primarily funded by the generous support of sponsors, and if I may, I'd like to read that list of sponsors, Commissioner. ACT Environmental and Infrastructure, Aetna, Bartow Regional Medical Center, the Central Florida Development Council, Clark McDowell Powell, how do you say that? It's
Comanche.
Comanche, thank you. Duke Energy, Electric Motors Lift Station Services, the new Florida Polytechnic University, Heart of Florida Regional Medical Center, Intermedics, Jones Edmonds, Killebrew Inc., Mosaic, Napa Motor Parts, Polk State College, Source 2 Staffing, State Farm Insurance, Tampa Electric Company, and Welldine RX. It's good to see so many prominent businesses in our colleges well represented at Polk County Day. You and your colleagues, Commissioner, on the Board of County Commissioners had the opportunity to speak with members of the Polk County Legislative Delegation on matters of importance to us, to our folks back home. How did those meetings go?
Meetings went very well. Our senior staff had divided the commission up into groups of 2 or 3 rather than a whole entourage going to each of the members of our delegation. We assigned specific tasks and specific bills or issues to discuss with the delegation. And I must say, our Polk County delegation are very, very committed to Polk County, and they're good public servants. Senators Denise Grimsley and Kelly Stargill, Darren Soto, all took time to be with us. In fact, Senator Soto came over to the luncheon you referred to and shared some thoughts and listened. Representatives Cumbie, McKeel, of course, McKeel is being termed out. He's a very key legislator as the head of the Appropriations Committee. John Wood has always been there for Polk County.
Yes, sir.
Ben Albritton and Mike LaRosa. We've got a good team that really understand the issues. Granted, they're just, you know, one of many in the delegation for the entire state, but they truly watch out for the Polk's interest and balance those interests. The luncheon you referred to was well attended by our city partners and their leadership, the city managers, and it gave us the opportunity to compare notes and understand what's important and share that voice, that big common voice when we make these visits.
Yes, sir. Let's talk a few minutes, Commissioner Lindsey, about the priority issues which were discussed in Tallahassee. They included the 2014 prepaid wireless fees, T-BARDA, the Department of Juvenile Justice's state and county cost share proposal, and alternative water supplies. Commissioner Melony Bell will discuss another priority, Phase 2 of the Bartow Connector Road, during the second half of our program. Let's start, Commissioner, with our support for enforcing the mandate for the collection of 911 fees from prepaid wireless users and establishing a methodology to collect these fees. Why is this issue so important to us?
Jim, you may recall that some years ago the legislature, in their wisdom, adopted a 911 funding fee to go on landline telephone communications and also to cell phone communications. It's obviously a user fee because those are the tools we use to contact 911. And fortunately, Polk County was one of the leaders in an enhanced 911 system that gave address locations. So, and that funding formula worked quite well. But then with the advent of prepaid phones, somehow that prepays were left out of the formula. And as technology and habits changed, more and more people are using the prepaid phones, which were not included in the assessment, and as a result, those revenues are dropping seriously. And so what we've asked, this is not a new tax, it is simply acknowledging something that fell between the cracks. And it's important that these prepaids pay their proportionate share in order to maintain the system and take it to the next level of technology. You know, bad guys, whether it's reporting anything that's going wrong, don't know city and county boundaries, and an event can transcend that. So it's important to have intercommunications between the counties at emergency levels. And funding this is going to be very expensive and time consuming, and a dependable, predictable revenue stream, user-based, makes the most sense.
Thank you. Up in Tallahassee, you and your fellow commissioners told our legislative delegation that we support legislation which will amend the Florida statutes to add Polk County as a member of the Tampa Bay Regional Transportation Authority. The proposed legislation also calls for Polk County and our transportation planning organizations continued participation in the Central Florida Metropolitan Planning Organization Alliance, that's a mouthful, and other partnerships. You told the local legislative delegation that we also oppose any measure creating a taxing authority. Is this proposed measure aimed at keeping Polk County a prominent member of the transportation assets on the I-4 corridor?
Yes, Jim, on this program previously we talked about transportation and Polk County's key role being an ingredient in the planning to those counties to our west and also the counties to our east. So this is designed to take a higher profile role in the planning to the west with the Hillsborough and the other coastal counties, so that there's uniform planning, there's a unified voice. Tallahassee and Washington, D.C. have both made it very, very clear that regional plans for transportation will have a much higher priority of funding than individual counties or cities. So this gives us a unified voice in that direction. There was some concern that we are creating another taxing authority, and that is furthest from the truth. That is not the case, and this is just simply to reaffirm that. It's a planning tool to keep us at the table so that with a unified voice we can find those transportation needs that transcend boundaries and get the biggest bang for the buck for Polk County.
Why is T-BARDA important to us?
That's the largest voice for transportation and planning on the Tampa Bay region area, and by proximity we are part of that. The planning is going to take place whether we're at the table or not, so we want to make sure we're at the table. I think I may have shared with you a phrase coined recently that if you're not at the table when there's planning, you're going to be on the menu. So we don't want to be on the menu. We want to be at the table when the planning process starts.
Thank you. Now let's turn to the juvenile justice systems and our desire to clean up and clarify cost between the state of Florida and Polk County in this extremely important area. Can you explain what we're trying to do here?
The juvenile justice system is responsible for housing and making sure the safety of juveniles that are in detention, either prior to their adjudication of guilt or innocence, certainly guilt, and post adjudication, how they're accommodated. The state and the counties have a partnership on how that is to be funded. Well, in the recent past, that funding formula has tilted in the favor of the state to the detriment of the counties. And after some contentious arguing back and forth, even some court issues, it was resolved that the system needed to be fine-tuned. Most of the counties have resulted in a 50-50 participation where they pay half and the state pays half. Polk County, along with Volusia and Marion, and I think perhaps one other county, have decided, and the math confirms, if we do this on our own, we can save money, but we just want the reimbursement from the state. Some of the monies that were supposed to come to Polk County in the recent past did not. And what we're asking is that the legislature recognize that overcharge on the part of the state. It's not an adversarial situation. It shouldn't be. It's all the public's dollars. The effort is simply to fine-tune, finalize that funding mechanism and recognize that those counties that choose to go their own way are indeed better representing their counties and their citizens, at the same time making sure that those young men and women in custody are properly cared for.
Well, thank you for being an advocate for our children. Now let's turn quickly to something that's on every Floridian's mind: conserving, saving, keeping our fresh water supply. What did we tell our legislators up in Tallahassee about protecting Polk County's water and the water of our neighbors?
This was discussed at length at our meeting with the delegation in advance of the session, in which we shared with them the requirement that we find alternative water supplies. We can no longer continue to draw from the upper Floridan aquifer and not have the adverse effects of depleting the resource, accelerating sinkholes and other ancillary issues. There has to be an alternative. Now, we don't have the privilege of being a coastal county and get involved in a desalinization, so we can't draw the water from the rivers, our surface water, so what's next? But what's next is not only conservation, but also finding a dependable supply. And that is the lower aquifer, which is much, much deeper. The water quality is much less, requiring a higher level of treatment. So what we've brought to the legislators' attention is this is the road which we've embarked on with our partners with the Water Management District, both the South Florida Management District as well as the Southwest Florida Management District, who are funding partners. This is a long-term, very expensive process. It's not a one-time fix, a one-time bill, or a one-time appropriation. We want them to remind them that keep this in the forefront of this issue will transcend my term in office, all of their terms in office, and probably the next batch. This is a 20, 30, 40-year project that is very, very expensive. So it's important to get that early commitment, understanding that it is a long-term commitment and not a one-time fix.
Thank you, Commissioner Lindsey, for joining us today to discuss the importance of Polk County Day. Please stay tuned as Commissioner Melony Bell will soon join us to talk about her view of Polk County Day. Thank you.
At socialsecurity.gov, you can apply for retirement, disability, or Medicare from your own home.
Chekhov applied in his pajamas.
Welcome back to this edition of the Commissioner's Report, where we're now joined with Commissioner Melony Bell. Welcome to the program, Commissioner Bell.
Thank you. Glad to be here this morning.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. In an earlier segment with Commissioner George Lindsey, we discussed the priorities that you and your colleagues brought to the attention of the Polk County delegation at Polk County Day recently in Tallahassee. One of the issues we didn't cover with Commissioner Lindsey was the very important Phase 2 of the Bartow Connector Road. The Board of County Commissioners has appropriated $15.4 million that would fund the completion of this important roadway from US Highway 98 to State Road 60. How does this project serve our transportation needs at the county seat and beyond?
This project is very important, especially for District 2, the Bartow area, to get the traffic out of downtown Bartow. This road project is going to connect actually off the Ernest Smith Boulevard and go over, trek over to Highway 60 to connect in there. As you know, CSX is coming online. We've heard April 1st, we've heard April 15th, so not real sure when actually they're going to open their doors. But when they do, they're going to have an impact on Polk County on transportation needs. You know, when they start unloading those rail cars, and there's up to 500 extra trucks extra trucks during the day, I'm sorry, yes, we are going to need the extra transportation. Well, that road would, they would be able to come from Highway 60 all the way over 17 and connect into the Ernest Smith Boulevard Road, go over and hit 98, and then if they're going over to the Port of Tampa or anywhere else, Jacksonville, they would be able to hit the Polk Parkway and then go to Jacksonville, go to Tampa, whichever direction they want to go in. But that road is very important for Polk County. We were up in Tallahassee for Polk County Days, and when I went in and met with the legislators, I told each one of them, actually we were behind the 8 ball on this. We should have had this road in place before CSX came online. And for some reason it never happened, but we are certainly advocating for it, and we're in a good position now, I believe, for the road. We've gone through, we have a TPO board, and we called a special meeting last week with the TPO board and asked them to put it on their top priority list for the 5-year plan. And it was unanimous. We did do that. So hopefully now, after going to Tallahassee and meeting with Representative Hooper, I believe, he's over the transportation for the state of Florida in the House. He said if we could get it on this list, the top priority list, then we were favorable for it. So we just have to sit back now and hopefully wait for the funding to get there.
Fantastic. It sounds like a perfect solution for Bartow and beyond. You mentioned that the second phase of the Bartow Connector Road will help with impacts of the new CSX Integrated Logistics Center. We're already seeing projects pop up on State Road 60, new projects, and then some existing companies are expanding to meet the needs for the new container center. All total, there's a fantastic, like 4,000 acres that are future land use for business park, and CSX said at build out, it may be years from now, that up to 8,000 people will be employed in and around the CSX Center. The Central Florida Development Council is sponsoring a trip soon to Fairburn, Georgia, to go to see what another integrated logistics center looks like and what impacts that we may be able to expect as CSX matures and develops. Are you making that trip?
Yes, I am, and I'm excited to do that. I've been asked several times to go and not had the time actually to go, so this time I put it on my calendar and plan on going there. As I mentioned, so it is in Polk County and it's very important. It's going to be a great economic impact on the surrounding areas here. And so I plan to go. I think we fly in, it's a 2-day trip, and they're going to take us on a a workshop of showing us exactly what, in their surrounding areas, the educational part of it, of what impact it had on their area, and then also they're going to be taking us actually out into the yard and showing us how they, unload the cars and where they're sent, and so I'm looking forward to that trip.
That's going to be exciting, business leaders, community leaders, government leaders like you are going, and you'll be able to come back and tell the story, what has developed around this.
Yeah, and that's a public-private partnership that's doing this, so I'm excited to be involved in that. As a county commissioner sitting on the diocese, every time I talk about economic development and what we need in this county. We need jobs, and this is going to generate jobs.
Excellent. And thank you for that update, Commissioner Bell. Let's switch a little bit to your work with the George Harris Youth Shelter and with other numerous projects involving young people. We know that you're a proponent for the health, safety, and general well-being of young people. Your heart just spins that way. Can you please tell us about the young leaders who made the trip to Tallahassee this year to support Polk County Day? And why did that excite you so much?
Well, it excited me because can you imagine being in 10th grade of school and being invited to go to Tallahassee with a group, and you're there and you're getting to meet with all of your legislators, you're getting to meet with the cabinet. They got to meet with Pam Bondi, Jeff Atwater, the lieutenant governor. These young kids had an opportunity that many children of that age do not have this type of opportunity. But leadership, Haines City went, and in fact they helped out in the beginning of the getting name tags and everything ready. So they played a part in that. So, getting to be able to, when you go there and you're saying, hey, I'm part of this Polk County Day is real important. But then also Leadership Fort Meade went. And this year, Leadership Fort Meade it's a 2-year program. It's actually, they're into their 3rd year. And each year, there's a new group that comes in. I said 3-year program, but this is their 3rd year of having a new leadership group. And they decided this year to, instead of just having all adults, they invited a young people's leadership class. And they took the iLead program from the Career Academy there in Fort Meade, and they took 10 leading and aspiring leaders, I guess, out of that class, and they're in Leadership Fort Meade. So they're doing the same thing that the adult leadership class is doing. So they're tagging along, and they decided to intertwine them, I guess, together. So this leadership class up there, you should have seen their eyes. I mean, they were just so excited and just unbelievable. A lot of them have never been to Tampa, so you can imagine taking these kids out of a small town to Tallahassee. And they got to go in and see the House of Representatives in action. They got to see the Senate, and actually Senator Stargell introduced them from the floor that that we had a leadership group in there, and it was the young leaders of Fort Meade. And so then they also got to go to the mansion, the governor's mansion, and take a tour of that. Nice. So they got to do a lot of exciting things. And then the lieutenant governor, he was so gracious to sit down and talk to them about being a leader and what it takes to be a leader in today's time, and about ethics and morals. And it was so important to those kids. So I was just excited to be there with them and to be able to see the looks on their faces as they got to meet each and every one of them.
County management did something special this year to make our municipal partners feel more involved in Polk County Days. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I come from city commissioners. I was city commissioner, mayor, 14 years actually, served mayor 3 times out of that 14 years. And the county came knocking on our doors and said, we want you to be involved in Polk County Days. When we go to Tallahassee, we want the delegation, and we want Tallahassee folks to know who Polk County is and what we stand for. So I went several times on the Fort Meade City Commission and didn't really know our role there. We would go up, we'd walk the halls, didn't have a whole lot to lobby about. And coming from that small city to the county, I realized that we needed to give the cities more of a role and needed to make sure that they knew that they were a part of, they had ownership in Polk County Days. So this year was very exciting. I've been on the commission 3 years, almost 4 years now, and advocated for this. Let's make sure that the cities have an important role in Polk County Days. So this time, you know, the county sponsored a luncheon for them, or actually the county didn't do it, but we had private sponsorship. So
Yes, ma'am.
we invited all of the city commissioners and mayors, and along with the sponsorships, to have a luncheon and to come together and to meet and talk about what we're doing in Tallahassee and what we're lobbying there for.
And it's important then that we reach out to the smaller communities and assist them.
It is.
Yes.
It is. Our big cities, you know, they have funds to be able to lobby. They're able to hire lobbyists and go to work for what they need. But coming from a small city, I can see where they don't have the funds. So last year, Commissioner Lindsey actually brought it up on the diocese because we had been talking about that we needed to do something for our small cities, help them out. And Frostproof, I'm not sure if you remember, but they had a water project last year.
Yes, ma'am.
Got all the way to the governor's desk and he vetoed it.
Yes, ma'am.
So we said, you know, this year our smaller cities, they need help. If they have a huge project like that, which helps the county, we need to help them lobby. So our lobbyist has taken it upon themselves also to help them lobby for this water project and other projects. And I think the city of Bartow is also looking at a water project.
And I know they appreciate that so much.
They do, and they tell us. They
Yes,
do.
ma'am. One of the programs that we do to assist smaller communities is our community development program, where we actually help them market to retail entities. You're intimately involved with a project in your home city of Fort Meade. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well,
and what we're trying to do?
Yeah, well, as you know, the city does not have a grocery store. Frostproof does not have a local grocery store. So we're out there trying to find grocery, businesses that want to come and do business actually in these small towns. It's very difficult to bring a franchise in because it's a business to them. They want to look at numbers. They want to look at demographics. You know, who would be shopping there? Would they be able to stay in business? I mean, we're asking them to invest their money into it. So I've gotten involved with the city of Fort Meade trying to bring a grocery store there, retail grocery. I've met probably with 5 or 6 different grocery store entities now, and we still don't have a solid answer there yet, but we're working on it, and I appreciate what you're doing, DG, as meeting with us and having the numbers there, because when somebody's knocking on our door, they want to see numbers. They don't care, that we're nice and we're going to shop there. They want to know who's going to shop there and how much money are they going to make, and it's a business decision. And I can understand that completely.
And I believe with your advocacy, we will get there. It's interesting. Lakeland is the home of the $27 billion a year public supermarkets headquarters, and the county works with 8 communities that would love to have one grocery store. So there's a big need there. We thank you so much for being on the program with us today. We appreciate your enthusiasm, and we appreciate your love of young people. It means a lot.
Well, thank you. And, I have 2 daughters of my own, and they're young still, and I would have loved for them to be able to have those opportunities that those kids had last week in Tallahassee.
Well, thank you. This is your host, Jim DeGennaro, urging you to tune in next month when we'll hear from 2 more county commissioners talking about the priorities and the policies that are important to our 616,000 residents. Until then, I urge you to please take care and enjoy this beautiful community we call home.